Peradeniya and earned an LL sorry for on the academic side. Currently, he serves as the award coordinator for the awards at Apit Candy campus and is also a lecturer in law. We are delighted to have him here to share his expertise and the knowledge on this essential topic. Today's session will cover the following key areas: the legal process of establishing a company, business registration and legal aspects, common legal challenges and the solution, key legal boundaries for entrepreneurs, taxation and related consideration. And without further delay, let us proceed with the session. I would like to warmly invite our guest speaker, Mr. Shiran Harsha Widanapathirana, to take the floor.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Miss Bimsha, and thank you for having me with you today this nice evening. So again, thank you very much for inviting me, and I'm so glad that I got an opportunity to share some things I know with all you young minds, and I will try my level best to share a lot of knowledge with you with regard to the areas that your colleague has mentioned, including businesses, registration processes, and other aspects as well. So before we start, I just want to say a few things. Now, the session is going to be very informal, so please don't let this attire, introduce some sense of fear or something as such. It's only for official purposes, right? So please feel free to have a very free conversation with me. So I was also a student just like you not so long ago in the same university. So you can treat me as a colleague. No need to even say, sir, there's not a need of any formality. But the important thing is within the given time, please make sure that you get the best out of me. I am more into sharing everything I know with you. So let us make this a nice experience where we can share knowledge with each other and where you ask questions from me and I answer them to the best extent I can. If I don't know, of course, obviously, I'm going to come back to you with more insights. So today, just before I start, I just wanted to give you some perspectives about what I wanted to do and how we can interact together and make this session very productive. I'll be sharing the screen and I'll be sharing some slides with you as well. And on the other hand, I'll be using an application that I use, you all know, Paint, just to draw things and to connect certain dots that we have to during the course of the session. And I'm also going to show you some websites that you will find very interesting and also quite important for whatever the business activity that you are going to engage in. Okay, I'm going to invest special emphasis on companies, right? But that doesn't mean that I will not discuss the other business structures that you can use to engage in a business. Okay, and I'll show you everything that you need to know. And if you need any further assistance, even though after the session, please feel free to reach out. I'm always happy to help you and make sure that you do a good job. Okay, so follow your dreams. I believe this can be a good platform or a foundation, or my expertise, whatever the expertise I have, could be a good foundation for you to foster your dreams and pursue your dreams. All right. So without further ado, if you don't mind, I'll switch off the video because I don't like seeing me, to be honest. And let us start. I'll quickly share the screen and give you an idea about what areas I'll be discussing with you today, right? Okay, so I believe you can see the screen now. Okay, so let us now, if you can't answer the questions I ask because you might be at home, I fully understand. Even I am at home. If this, the blurred background was not blurred, you'll see all the baby stuff and things like that in the room. Okay, so I do understand and appreciate the fact that since you are joining from hostel rooms or even at home, sometimes background sounds can be there. Please don't make it a hurdle or a problem for you to freely ask questions. Please feel free. We are all human, so therefore ask questions. Background sounds and all those things does not matter. Okay, I do understand. I appreciate the fact that you have allocated the time to join with me this Sunday evening. So let us proceed. So what I am trying to do today is to help you out with regard to certain business formalities. And again, please excuse me for my bad handwriting. I'm using the mouse, not the pen, okay? So basically what you need to understand is that when you are going to start a business, there are certain requirements that you have to satisfy, okay? Now, when you are starting a business, the first thing that you need to do, ladies and gents, is to figure out what you are going to do. Now, for example, let's say I like to start a business where I sell food items. Okay. If I make it a bit more specific and simple, let's say I want to sell vade. Now, there are so many nice gents and ladies who sell vade on the road, right, in shops and many places. So if I want to engage in that business, an activity, a business is basically an activity or a combined set of efforts invested towards getting a certain benefit by providing goods or services to a certain segment of the market. Okay, so what you need to understand is that what we do by a business is to identify a certain need that is there in the society, identify it, and thereby try to assist those persons who have that need to satisfy their need by providing goods or services. So your business activity might be for the purpose of providing goods or even services. Right now, for example, my employer currently at the time, my employer basically provides service, education. But sometimes if you are engaged in other very prominent organizations, maybe like, let's say, Mars, for instance, goods are provided. So whatever the business activity that you are going to do, it's most probably either going to be providing goods or services. But the range can be very significantly high. Okay, so you can decide. Now, for example, there are new developments. Okay, now, for example, these days, I believe the computing sector is booming because of the development of generative AI and so many other developments in the field of computing and technology, right? So those are opportunities. So whatever the business you want to engage in, first you need to have this concept, like what you are going to do and what you try to achieve. Once you have the vision in your mind, then we'll have to get to the technicalities. Okay, because every business we do, ladies and gents, there needs to be a business structure, right? Like, for example, your body, my body, for example, both of our bodies have a structure. It has a certain structure, no? So basically what you need to understand that your business also should have a certain structure. Okay, business structure is basically the way in which you are going to engage in business, the nature of it and the structure of it. Okay, so when you are trying to select a good structure for your business, there are certain factors that you need to keep in mind. Okay, based on those factors, you can decide what type of a business structure that you are going to utilize for your own business. For example, there are few commonly used business structures in the world at the time. You might have heard about these things already, so I'm not going to stress too much. Sole traders or sole proprietors. Sole traders, not SOUL. Here, sole means one person. And then you also have another type of a business structure called partnerships. Okay, partnerships. And again, you have another type of a business structure called corporates, or we call them companies. Okay, there are other business structures in addition to this as well. If you look at notes from different books and even go through articles, sometimes you will see business structures being divided into mainly two types. For example, registered and unregistered. I'll tell you what it is. But for the time being, let us keep it simple. Okay, I'm not showing you the slides as of yet because it's better for us to follow this rather than being invested in slides, as I believe. But if you feel like you need some more assistance from the slides after this discussion is done, I'll give you an idea about it. So I'll show it to you or share it with you as well. I don't mind. Okay. So what you need to understand is that now that you are clear about what you want to do, right? Now you have the business concept in your mind. The next aspect that you will have to discuss was to decide what structure you are going to select for your business. What you are going to select. Now I'm only going to restrict our discussion to these three structures, and I'm going to mainly focus on companies, as your colleague has correctly mentioned. Okay. So what you need to understand here is that what structure you are going to select is based on a number of factors. Out of these business structures, what you are going to select for your business is dependent on a number of factors. Okay. Now, let us first discuss who these or what these business structures are. Okay. Now, sole traders, okay, sole traders can be considered as the most commonly used business structure in the world. All right. So don't get alarmed. Sometimes I might pop up in the video and then sometimes get out, because I just want to, share some expressions with you as well. So what you need to understand is that sometimes when we consider about sole traders, if you just look at sole traders, as I mentioned to you before, can be considered as the most commonly used business structure in the world at the time. Now, I am an academic by profession, but at the same time, I'm an attorney at law as well. No? So if you have ever gone to courts, you might see lawyers practicing, arguing, and providing all these services to their respective clients within a certain framework of ethics. So usually, lawyers are also considered as sole traders. Of course, they can get together, start partnerships, and do other things, and start firms, companies, whatever it is. That's a different deal. But when you are an attorney at law, when you are practicing by yourself, when you are practicing your profession by yourself, you are considered as a sole trader. Okay, you are considered as sole trader. Now, there are more than 20,000 lawyers at the time in Sri Lanka, so most probably most of them are sole traders. Okay, and if you consider about, let's say, there are some people who sometimes comes to your residences and ask whether your gardening needs some maintenance and things as such. So those respectable people are also coming under sole traders. And sometimes near Galha Junction, when we were in the university, there used to be a small Vade shop, right? We used to call that brother Vadeaya. I don't know whether he's still there. I haven't seen him from a long time. So he's also a good example for a sole trader. So sole traders, even auditors, like consultants, they can be sole traders. So one way in which you can do your business is by yourself. The most classic example for a sole trader would be the Mudalali in your village shop, right? He or she runs the whole shop. There may be some people who might be there to help him or her, but it's his or her own business. All the management aspects are done by that person and that person only, right? There's full control vested in that person regarding the business, right? So that is basically what we refer to as a sole proprietorship, or we refer to a person like that by the name sole trader. Okay. On the other hand, when it comes to partnerships, you need to understand, ladies and gents, in a partnership, as the word says, it's a business activity that two or more people engage in with the view of accumulating benefits or profits. If you are going to engage in an activity as such, even though you know that you are in a partnership or does not know that you are in a partnership, you are in a partnership. All right. So what you need to understand is that a partnership is a situation where two or more parties, right, engage in a certain business activity with a common view of obtaining and accumulating profits. This is the definition that is there in the law as well. So if you have by any chance has done business studies for commerce for your advanced level examination or for your ordinary level examination, you know what I'm talking about. But I'm obligated to give you an idea about it for everyone, which is why I gave that definition. Okay. So if you are a person who has a very trustworthy partner or few trustworthy partners to do this together or to do this business together, you can actually go ahead with a partnership. Now you might be wondering, okay, this guy is talking about all these business structures and teaching us like little children. but he's not mentioning anything about registration. Okay, hold on, sources. I'm going to give you an idea about registration requirements as well. But before that, we need to have the foundation, right? And then we have companies. Companies can be considered as a bit more formal enterprise. Okay, before I get to that, let me quickly give you an idea about advantages and disadvantages of sole traders. If you know, please feel free to switch on your mics and answer. And if you know, and if you want to share, the chat box I'll be checking as well. So please feel free to share any insights that you might have regarding these areas. Okay, so sole traders is like this. The biggest benefit of being a sole trader is that the control you have. No one to boss you around, no one to give you instructions. It's your business, right? You are in full control of your business. That is one of the biggest benefits that a person who wants to engage in a business by way of a sole proprietorship can have. Okay, like for example, even to ask for leave, for instance, you don't have to ask for leave from anyone. If you don't want to go to the business activity today, you don't have to. If I'm a full-time practitioner, if I don't want to go to courts today, I don't have to. But if I have a case being called in the courts in few hours time, I need to make sure that my client will not be in trouble. But if I don't have to go to courts, if I don't want to go to court for some reason, within my ethical framework, I can take an excuse. Okay, I don't have to apply for leave like what happens in formal companies. Okay, so that freedom is there. Full management powers, everything is vested in you. You are in the driving seat of your business. Other thing is, now let's say if you get like a big profit, yeah. Now profits is what we seek for by engaging in business. And ladies and gentlemen, is it bad for us to expect profits? Of course not, right? If someone says getting profits is wrong, that's actually wrong. Getting profits by doing wrong things or being unethical is wrong, I would say. Okay, like for example, let's say you have some bad trade practices and things as such. That is bad, that is wrong, that is illegal. But obtaining profits by providing the services, by marketing your talents, by utilizing your talents is not wrong, because there's a social dimension to it as well. We all pay taxes, right? Like for example, now I also learned, just like you, from the university. I paid 4,000 rupees for my degree from the university. So the state, the people of the country paid for it as well, right? So even now we are also doing the same thing. That's actually a good thing. Didn't you get it? So basically what you do is higher your income, usually taxation also you have to pay. So there is a social aspect of you engaging in your business as well, right? So what I'm trying to say here is that if you obtain a profit, the whole profit is going to be yours when you are a sole trader. Whole profit. But as I mentioned to you before, it's considered as your own income. So therefore, you will have to pay taxes based on the income or the profit that you are going to obtain. Income tax, you know, the TIN and all these things these days going on. So you will have to pay taxes. You will be obligated to pay taxes based on your income, right? That's a bit of a negative, but all the profits are going to be yours. Okay, but every good thing, there's another thing. Now, when you start a business, like your kind colleague has stated, there are registration requirements. Okay, now usually these are the technicalities when it comes to starting a business. Technicalities is the area that we don't like the most, right? We don't like technicalities much. We don't like lawyers much, right? Okay, it's okay, you can tell that, no problem. But not every lawyer is bad, okay? Not every person is bad, but still, you know, people don't like to go to courts. Most people don't like to associate with lawyers. It's considered as a burden. I don't blame you. But legal aspects or law is something that is so connected to our life for our own betterment, right? So it's very important for you to understand that it's completely okay for you to go to courts. It's completely okay for you to talk to lawyers. It's completely within your rights to use the courts to make sure that your rights are not violated, and also other people's rights are not violated as well. Okay, law is for you, not only for us. It's for all of us. Coming back to this. Now, one of the other aspects we need to consider with regard to sole traders is that in registration requirements are a bit less compared to the other business structures we are going to talk about. In terms of companies, ladies and gents, it's like a I'm not going to say that it's a very difficult process. The process has been made quite easier for us nowadays, but there are some formalities that you need to satisfy. Okay, those formalities are much extensive than what you would experience when you are trying to register your sole trader business or sole proprietorship. Is registration compulsory? I'll answer that question as well. Okay, but for the time being, as an advantage, please remember, starting cost of a sole proprietorship is low, and registration requirements and other legal requirements are also a bit low compared to other business structures. So it's very simple as a business structure, but it's very effective. Okay, but what are the negative aspects? Now you might be thinking, so this guy told us about the positives of sole proprietorships, but there should be a catch as well. Yeah, there's a catch. Every positive thing has a negative side as well. There are two sides in a coin. So the good side I told you, what's the bad side? Bad side is if there is a loss, whole loss will be yours. Okay. Other thing is lack of expertise. Now, when you are doing business, so imagine you have two friends, you are very good with making brownies, yeah, a tasty treat, no? But you have another friend who has a big network of people and is very good at marketing. And there's another friend who is very good with finance and investing. So if you are doing the business activity by yourself, and if you don't have expertise over finance and marketing, that could be a limitation to your overall knowledge. And that can have an impact on the productiveness of the business. Okay, that's why sometimes some people get to partnerships. Of course, you can employ other people, but as the owner, you'll be in full control. No? So even if your employee says, sir, madam, let's do it like this, you can say, nah, I don't like it. It doesn't go with my plans. Did you get the idea? So because an employee is usually working for you, no, so you might, if you don't want to listen to your employee, even though he or she has experience, then it's not going to work quite well. Okay. The biggest disadvantage, however, is that in sole proprietorships, right, there is no separate legal personality. There is no separate legal personality. Now, what on earth is this? This is the biggest problem in being a sole proprietor, right? Now, there are two types of people in this world. No, not the one you are thinking. Not bad people and good people. There are, under law, according to law, there are mainly two types of persons, right? Two types of persons. One is like you and me, natural persons. We are naturally considered as persons. Naturally, we have our own rights and obligations. But there's another segment of people recognized by law called legal persons. Who are these legal persons? Legal persons are persons who are recognized as persons because of the law. The law recognizes certain people or certain persons as persons, certain institutions as persons, right? So a company is a classic example for that. I will get to that in just a few minutes. But mind you, please remember, when you start your sole proprietorship or your sole trader business, your business and you will be one. Some people say when the gentleman and the lady marries, they become one. No, it's not like that. Here, it's completely you, right? Like, for example, even though people say when the lady and the gent marries, they become one. If the gent kills someone, lady doesn't have to go with him to prison. No. Did you get the idea? But when it comes to sole proprietorship, ladies and gents, whenever you start a sole proprietorship, you are the business. Business is you. Your business's obligations are your obligations. Let's say you have obtained a loan of 1 million rupees, 1 million rupees to finance activities of your business activity, sole trader business. Who has the obligation to pay it back to the bank or the financial institutions? You have. Fully your responsibility. Let's say the business didn't go well, right? And I don't wish this to happen to you, okay? But we have to look at the bright side and the dark side as well. Let's say when you started the business, it didn't go off as you have expected, and you had to close down, unfortunately, your sole proprietorship. Okay. Now, let's say at the time of stopping your activities, you had assets of 10,000, but you have a loan of 1 million. Who has the obligation to pay the loan? Now, let's say the bank, the institutions, agents came to you, sir, you have obtained this loan from us, and for 2 months you have not paid a single installment. We need our installment and the dues as soon as possible. Can you say, sorry, I have got this loan for the business closed now, so therefore I can't pay? You can't say that, because your business's obligations will be your personal obligations. And the other biggest issue is that your obligation, your liability towards a business's liabilities would be unlimited. No limit. Not the shopper. Your liability has no limit. Okay. What that means is that, let's say, after selling the business, you got 1 million rupees. Selling the chairs, selling the tables, cupboards, and all those things. After doing that, you got 1 million. But there is a loan that you have to pay worth 4 million. How much more money do you need? 4 million minus 1 million means 3 million balance. Who has to pay? You have to pay. Can you say, oh, sorry, I have empty pocket. I don't know. I only have my house and my vehicle. You can't say that. Your obligation to the business's affairs are unlimited. That means, ladies and gents, your personal assets, that means your house, okay, your other properties, including your vehicle, they are all at risk when you are going to engage in an unregistered business such as the sole proprietorship. Did you get the idea? That is the biggest risk, and the risk that makes this business structure less desirable by people. Okay, but still, everything is like that. For example, we don't know whether we are going to wake up tomorrow. That doesn't mean that we should not live the moment, right? Everything has benefits and positives. So therefore, if you think that sole proprietorships or sole trader is the best business structure for you, please go ahead, but be cautious. Okay, maintain your affairs different from the business's affairs. Have a separate account for your business, please. Okay, when you are engaging in transactions, don't mix up the proceeds of both these entities, you and your business. Yeah, the business is you are the business, but keeping things separate can help you move on. Otherwise, sometimes it could cause problems. But again, please remember, for all purposes, you are the business. Business is yours. All businesses' fortunes are yours. See, happy face. But all the businesses' negative aspects are also yours. Not very attractive. But that's how the world works. Okay, so we have to deal with it. All right. Registration aspect, I'll tell you after discussing the next two business structures as well. Then we'll go to partnerships. Now, in a partnership, ladies and gents, for you to start a partnership, you need at least yourself and someone else. You can't have a partnership with yourself, which is a bit weird as a business activity. Okay, you can't have a partnership with yourself. You need someone else. So minimum, there needs to be 2 persons to start a business. Maximum, there can be 20 persons under the existing law. There's a small exception for professional partnerships, but usually for partnerships, usually the highest number would be 20. If you go beyond 20, you need to register your business as most probably a private company. We'll get to that later. Okay. Now, what are the good things and bad things about being in a partnership? It's like this. Formalities. Okay, let's start with the good things. Good things are these things. When you consider about a partnership, there are few people who are going to be involved. So that means expertise is high. Now, remember the brownie example where you made the brownies, one friend is good with finance and investing, and the other friend is good with marketing, manufacturing operations, supply chain, and other aspects. So if the three of you get together, okay, what happens is that you can share expertise, pool your expertise. Okay, that's actually a good thing because you can benefit from it. Right? And the other thing is capitalization requirements. I forgot to mention about this in sole proprietors. What do you mean by capital, ladies and gents? Capital represents the owner's share of a business. Capital represents the owner's share in a certain business. Okay. So what you invest is your share, right, in the business. Now, when it comes to sole traders, it's very difficult for you to finance your operations. If you have a lot of money, that's good because you can invest easily. But if you are relying on external sources, right, sources that are external to you, like bank loans, financing your business operations can be a bit challenging. But when there's a partnership, there are few people. Let's say you have 100,000 and your two friends have 100,000 each. So there's an overall capital of 300,000. If you are a sole trader, you only have 100,000. So that's another positive. Okay. So those are some of the things that we can consider as positives, but at the same time, negatives are also very important. Now, having good partners is good, but at the same time, sometimes partners may have disagreements, which might not allow you to engage in your business activity. More people means more opinions. More opinions means can be good, but it sometimes can be the cause of conflicts. Okay. And the other aspect is that the profits will be divided between the partners. So in sole proprietorships, you got the whole chunk of the profits. But here in partnerships, the profit will be divided between the partners in the way they have agreed in their agreement or according to the law, equally most probably. Okay, that's another thing that we have to consider when it comes to partnerships. And the other biggest issue again here also is unlimited liability. Okay, now in the United Kingdom, there are different types of partnerships. For example, limited liability partnership, limited partnerships are two examples, right? But when you're getting into partnerships here, most probably it's going to be an ordinary partnership where you will have joint and several liability. What do you mean by joint and several? Yeah, right. Without making weird faces, I will show you. Joint means together, right? Several means individually. All the partners to the partnership will be jointly and severally, individually and together. Together and individually will be liable for the relevant affairs of the business. Will be liable for the relevant affairs of the business. And the liability in an ordinary partnership regarding those matters would be unlimited, just like in a sole proprietorship. Here the situation is a bit worse because if your partner does something hanky-panky during the course of the business, you can be held responsible for that as well. Okay, because in ordinary partnerships, usual partnerships, again, there is no separate legal personality. So if you get a loan from me, I can sue you all, right? That is one thing that you need to consider when it comes to a partnership. Okay, there are other benefits as well, and there are other negatives as well. But before you start your business, before you get into the business, before you decide your business structure, consider these possibilities. Okay, finding a partner is like finding your better half. Okay, that person should be a trustworthy person, and in layman's terms, that person should be within the track. Okay, if the person is going to go out of the track, you'll be out of the track as well. Okay, so that is something that I want you to exercise caution when it comes to starting partnerships. How to register? Don't worry, I'll tell you. Okay, next one, the giant in the house is companies. Okay, this is also a very important business structure. Even though sole traders can be considered as the most commonly used business structure, you can consider companies as one of the most frequently used ones as well. Okay, now there are a few things that makes the company a very special business entity, right? Now let me give you a small idea about this, because you need to know the theories before we get to the practicalities now. Now again, please forgive me, I can't cover like the whole perspective within the given time, with all due respect, but I'll try my level best to give you an idea about everything to the best extent I can within the given time. Okay, so let's say there are three people called A, B, and C, right? Your three friends. You want to start a company by the name ABC. ABC. Now, Companies, ladies and gentlemen, is a good example for an incorporated, right, or registered business. Best word would be incorporated. These two usually are unincorporated, but companies are incorporated. What do you mean by incorporation, ladies and gents? Right? Now, you know, our society, we have laws. Okay. Now, if you have to register your business entity under a certain law, then we can consider that to be an incorporated organization. For example, if you want to start a company of any sort, now there's a meaning or reason why I told you any sort. There are different types of companies as well. Okay. If you are to start a company in Sri Lanka, ladies and gents, you need to register your company under the Companies Act, right? Number 7 of 2007. Where should you go to? You have to go to the Company Registrar's Office. Okay, in Sinhalese, I'm sorry for not stating the Tamil word with all due respect. The Sinhala word for this is Samagam PS. It's in Colombo. Okay. Do you have to go to Colombo to register? Necessarily not. I'll tell you why. Okay. So your business, if you want to start as a company, everyone, you need to register your specific business under the Companies Act number 7 of 2007. When you register your company and when the requirements are fulfilled, we say that your company has been incorporated. Okay, incorporated. There's a magical thing that happens due to the application of law when you register your company. What is that? What is that? The moment the company is registered, the company is going to become a separate person who has a separate personality different from A, B, C, and all other persons. I call this the birth effect. Now, there is no actual theory by that name. To explain this to students, this phenomena to the student, I usually use this word called birth. Now, we have all spent like around more than 9 months in our mother's womb, no? Okay. Usually, when a child is, or we say a fetus is inside a mother's womb, child and the mother are inseparable. Child is basically part of the mother. Okay. But the moment the child comes out of the womb and is born to this world, that child, for all purposes of law, will be considered as a separate individual. Right. Now, let me take a name from the audience. Like, for example, we have Akila, right? Yeah. Now, when Akila was born, he became a separate person to whom we refer to as Akila. Now, there are many other separate persons like that as well. We have Amra, right? Anuttara, Asela, right? And then Bimduli is there. So likewise, we are all separate persons. But at a certain situation in our life, we were all part of our mother, right? Did you get the idea? Now, some people can make the argument, okay, even though a baby is inside a mother's womb, that person is still a different person. Technically, legally, that could not be the case because, for example, when it comes to UK law, right, right to take abortion is there. Now, under Sri Lankan perspective, that would be correct. But under UK law, for example, until the child is born, the mother has the rights because the child is part of the mother's body. So here what happens is that when the company is born to the world, now of course, companies are not born to the world like we are born to the world. But the moment the registration process is completed, right, the company becomes a separate individual who has a separate personality or a different personality from its owners or members, employees, everyone. Okay. Now, how is this possible? Now, that's why, ladies and gents, when you want to finance your business, when you go to the commercial bank, for example, I am not promoting them, please understand. Okay. It just came to my mind. I don't know, for some reason, commercial bank comes to my mind. Okay. So then what happens is that when you want to get a loan, you might go and talk to a natural person like you and me. Okay, the manager, finance officer, someone like that. But when you get the money, when you sign the contract, who is the other party? Is it the bank manager? No. Is it the bank manager's family member? No. Is it a director? No. Is it a shareholder? No. Is it an employee? No. Then who is it? It's the company, right? You have your relevant contract with the company, not with the bank manager, not with the branch manager, not with the finance officer, not with the receptionist, not with the security officer, not with the directors, and not with the shareholders. How is this possible? Because after the company is incorporated under the Sri Lankan law, the company will be considered as a separate person that can act under its own account or own motion, right? That is what you need to keep in mind, and that is what we call separate legal personality. Okay. Now, then you might be wondering, okay, how on earth can a company work then? Company is a separate person, or is the building the company? No, building is not the company. Today, commercial bank PSC can be near Kotukaral Vidya. Tomorrow, it can be in Rajavidya. Day after tomorrow, it can be in front of University of Peradeniya. Highly improbable, but can be, right? Did you understand? And day after tomorrow, it can be in Gampala, right? The building is not the person. The personality is the commercial bank PLC itself. Okay. So what is to become with ABC? These people are people who we refer to as promoters. Okay. Now they can actually be part of the company or be members of the company by buying shares of the company, by being entitled to shares of the company. What do you mean by shares? Share is basically the representation of shareholders. Smallest unit of capital, right? Smallest unit of capital in a company. You can become a shareholder in a company by basically buying the shares. Okay. Now you don't have to only pay money to get shares. Okay. You can give a vehicle, a building, a promise to do something depending on what the company can accept. You can provide things other than money as well to become shareholders or to be entitled to shares in a certain company. Remember that as well. Okay. Now there's another set of individuals that you need to know about, right? Called directors. They are called directors. Now, company administration is a pretty weird thing. It's not weird. I say it's phenomenal and it's very interesting. Shareholders are there, right? But all shareholders usually can't engage in the day-to-day administration process of the business, no? So, with the shareholders' involvement, there will be a certain set of individuals who are appointed specifically for the purpose of managing the company on a day-to-day basis called the directors. Okay, directors thereby get the powers by the company's documents and the Companies Act to do what is best for the company. They have to manage on a day-to-day basis. Can shareholders be elected as directors? Yeah, they can, right? But all of them can't. For example, in our parliament, we have 225 members. Why are they there? To make decisions regarding the country. Why is that? Don't we have the right to make decisions regarding our country? We do. You do. I do. But there are like 22 million more who has the same right to make decisions regarding the country. Is it possible for all 22 million people to get to one place and make decisions regarding each and everything regarding the country? Nope. Right? That's why we appoint representatives. Now here, directors are not the representatives of the shareholders, but directors are appointed individuals who are entrusted with the duty to manage the company on a day-to-day basis. What they get is basically a salary and an allowance. What do shareholders get for investing in the company? They get something we refer to as dividends. In Sinhalese, again, I apologize for our Tamil speaking colleagues, very sorry. Okay, but the Sinhala word only is Labhangsha, right? I should have found the Tamil word as well, sorry, yeah? Right. So that is what I needed to say. So what you get by investing in shares of a certain company would be dividends, basically paid to you by the profits usually reported by a company after the end of the financial year. Okay, so what you need to understand, ladies and gentlemen, here, differently for sole traders and usual partnerships, ordinary partnerships, companies can buy own land, sell their own land, own their own land or any asset, get into contracts under its own name, right? Even can get loans under its own name. Okay, now there are different types of companies, everyone. Okay, if I may mention a few, it's too much, I know, right? But I'm going to give you a quick idea. One thing is, one type of company is limited companies, right? Haven't you seen LTD, for example, private PVT LTD? Have you seen that word? Now, for example, the organization that I work in, right, it has Lanka Private Limited, Apit Lanka Private Limited, PVT Ltd. Have you ever imagined like what these words actually means, right? PVT means private, LTD means limited, right? And then sometimes when you see commercial bank, they have PLC at the end of the word. Now, what is this PLC business? PLC means public limited companies. Private limited companies buy shares, ladies and gents. They can't issue shares to the public through the stock exchange. Public limited companies, such as the commercial bank, can issue their shares to the general public. There's a difference. Okay. But both these types of companies benefit from something we call limited liability. Now, what on earth is this? Do you recall, ladies and gents, that I mentioned to you very clearly, I believe, that sole traders and partners, they have unlimited liability regarding the business's obligations. Now, guess what? In limited companies, the shareholders, who can also be considered as members or owners of the company, do not have unlimited liability towards the business's obligations, right? Let's say A has invested 100,000 rupees in the company. B has invested 50,000 rupees in the shares of the company. C has invested 200,000 rupees in the company. Okay. Now let's say the company has got a loan of 2 million, right? 2 million, for example, right? Now, if the company has got a loan of 2 million, you can see A, B, and C combinedly invested 350,000. Are they obligated personally to pay the 2 million loan of the company? Of course not, right? The maximum amount of money that they can lose by investing in shares of a company limited by shares is the investment that they have made. Nothing more. Okay. So people find this business structure to be a bit more attractive to them, mainly because of this limited liability requirement or limited liability benefit. Okay. There are so many other things that I have to mention to you regarding this matter. But in the interest of time, I'm going to leave it here. But if you have any follow-up questions, please inform our respective members of the organizing committee, and I'll get back to you regarding any of those matters. Now you are in the process of starting your own business, so when you get more questions, please do feel free to ask. I am also developing new avenues or getting into new avenues of company practice as well. So no, I don't need anything from you, right? I just want you to do well. So whatever the knowledge I have, if you have a problem, just forward them to me. I'll try my level best to refer you to someone who can help you out, or even to help you out. I don't want anything from you. You just do well. That's it. That is the only thing that I want from you. I will share whatever I can with you. Okay, right. So let us get to the other aspect. Right. Now, what I want to you to understand is that Oh, I got a message. Right. Right. Okay. So did I use my Vadekadi example there as well? Oh, sorry about that for mentioning the same example over and over again. I have some examples that I like the most that I use all the time. So yeah, all right. Okay. Thank you for mentioning that. Thank you very much. Right. Okay. So let me quickly show you some sites that could be very productive for you. Okay. Right. Again, thank you, Amra. Right. So what I want to share with you is that now this is the website for registrar of companies. Now I told you when you are trying to register your business as a company, there is one place you have to go to. So if I may go back in the web page, what you have to do is just search for company registration, something like that. Then obviously you are going to get the Department of Registrar of Companies. Log into that, follow the URL, or just click on it, and you get an option to select the language preferences as well. So it's a good thing I see in our governmental websites. Most of them are being updated these days, so they're acting weird sometimes, maybe because of the government change and they have to make some changes as well. No? So, but still, you can actually select which business or sorry, which language you want to proceed further. Okay, but registration process mostly it's English. Okay, so here if you go, you can see all the relevant acts that are applicable to companies. Okay, now even though I will refer you to some videos which would help you to know how to register your company. Now these acts means everyone. Now here, this is the act that I mentioned to you about before, the Companies Act. Companies Act would be applicable to all the companies in Sri Lanka. It has been amended or made changes to 2 times. You need to read them as well. So as you can see, every matter regarding companies can be found in this act. Now, for those who are not from the legal field, this might look like a bit weird. Now, this is basically a law. Now, if you have law colleagues, such as the colleague who has shared a comment, okay, this is our life, right? These are the things that we see every day on a day-to-day basis. Of course, other than the other, fruitful experiences in a court atmosphere, right? Everything regarding auditors, directors' duties, directors' powers, right? See, directors' duties, power of management, who can manage the business, right? Everything, removal of directors, retiring directors, company secretaries, everything can be found here in the Companies Act. So when you are registering, ladies and gents, you have to follow the procedure laid down by the Act itself. Okay. Now, if you want to know about the fees that you have to pay, just go to this link and all the fees that you need to pay. See how when you are registering a private company, what are the fees? What are the documents you need? When you are registering a public company, what are the documents you need? All these documents. Now, this is a good thing, everyone, right? Many years ago, this was not there. Nowadays, you can download all these forms, okay, and details through the website itself. And you can do the registration process through this e-rock system, fully online system. Right now, I don't have time to go through the whole process, but the first thing you need to do, ladies and gents, firstly is to find out company name. Now you need to be able, of course you need a name for your business, right? Otherwise how are you going to function? Okay, now first thing you need to do is, if you have a name in your mind, right, search that name here. Now I have searched some names during my classes. Okay, I know there are some institutions as well, right? So if you are going to search, I am not promoting them, it just came up. So see, they are going to tell you, see, a similar name is there because you cannot use a similar name for another company that is there at the time. See, BCAS campus, BCAS, all these BCAS, graduate studies, everything is there, right? And then let's say an organization like this, right? Here also, see, PV number means the company registration number. This is like your identity card number. So in all company documents and including letterheads and everything, the PV number has to be included. Now see, you can see, right? There are so many similar. Now there's a big set of pages as well. So this is a commonly used name, right? If I search for this also, yeah, see, similar. Do you get the idea? You can't use similar names because it's against the provisions of this act. And if you need any further guides regarding, how to incorporate or how to reserve a name for the company and everything, you can actually find it through here itself. Very easy. It's very easy. Okay. But the thing is, you need to, start a small profile here and then log in and then do the other purposes for which I don't have time at the time. But I will share a video. I believe Simple Books has one. Again, I am not promoting them. I am not promoting everyone. I am just trying to refer you to some areas or websites through which you'll be able to get some knowledge. So what I will do is that I will share the links of those videos with your colleague, Miss Pereira, Miss Netuni. So you'll be able to access them. Okay. What I wanted to mention today was to show you that all these matters, all these things, payments and everything can be done online. So that's actually a good thing. Use the EROC system. See, the user guides are also there. I'm not quite sure whether it's available now. Okay. They used to have a nice PDF, but unfortunately it's not working now. I think I have it with me. I'll share it with you if you like. Just follow the instructions. And there are a few videos on YouTube where good people, good colleagues and experts in the field share an idea about how to register your company. Okay. Now, again, there's another small thing. Now, what I wanted to mention again, another thing was, if you want to keep your business a bit simple, right? Like, let's say, partnership, or let's say a sole proprietorship, are you supposed to register your business? Now, ladies and gents, if you are using your own name for the business, now let's say my name is Shiran Harsha Widanapathirana. If I'm using all those names, right, in my business, I don't think it's very attractive, because we like very attractive, nice names, no, right? Like, for example, a cafe vibe. It's very catchy, Imagine someone asking you, "Hey, hello, we are going to have dinner. Where are you going?" "We are going to Shiran Harsha Widanapathirana." Like, what is that, right? As a name, it might be okay, but as a business name, it's not really catchy, right? Okay, KCC Multiplex, right? The Lover, No Limit, right? What are the other names that comes to your mind, right? Tilakavardhana, it's of course someone's name, but it's a company as well. But still, it has this, I don't know, some catch. Earl's Regency, right? Grand Candian, okay? Earl's Regent. So these are not the owner's full name, right? Now, it's not a partnership again, I'm telling you, but still, I'm trying to tell you an idea about the names. Like, for example, Amazon, right? AliExpress. So things like that, not the exact same as the name of the relevant business owner or a shareholder or whoever it is. So if you are going to use a name other than your own name, it's very important for you to register your respective business name. Okay. Where to do it? There is a specific place that you need to go to, right? Oh, I'm finding it a bit difficult to find. Okay, give me a second. Yeah, this is the one. Now, if you are starting a sole proprietorship, you have to usually go and check the divisional secretariat and then tell that you are interested. Or sometimes you might have to go to the municipal council. When you go and tell your requirement, they will refer you as to where you need to go. Now, this is basically, now you have to register your name under Business Names Act. So this is the Department of Business Names Registration in the Western Province. The reason why I wanted to share this with you is because now, if you are going to register your business as a sole trader, you can go by way of an individual business registration. Now, this is good because even the application you can get from online platforms. See, the name of the business when you are going to start and the nature of the business, right? And for example, if you are going to start, let's say, if you are a sole trader, there are different types of businesses, no? If you are going to do a business based on food items, right, then you might have to go and meet the PHI and also get certain formalities sorted out as well. Now, again, sorted out means not giving them bribes or something. You might have to get certain approvals from them because it's a matter involving food items. Okay. And all the other documents you need, right, can be found in the website itself. So this is actually a good thing. See, required documents, everything is there for you to find. So if you are doing a small lodge or something, then of course the lease agreement, the copy of the lease agreement, and sometimes you might have to get, not sometimes, you have to get a report from the Grama Niladhari, right, as well. So those requirements are the required documentation. So if you have the relevant documents in order, go to the relevant organization, submit them. Paying for them would not be a big deal, right? So in that way, they are a bit more effective, right? They are not going to waste a lot of time. And then again, if you are going to start your business by way of a, let's say, a joint business, partnership, for instance, then obviously you can see this form. Did you get the idea? So it's same, but a bit different, because now it's a joint application, right? So there'll be some other specific documents that you will have to provide in line with your application. Okay, now in companies, ladies and gents, it's a bit more complex, because when you are trying to, now if I may tell you a few things about company registration, when you are trying to register your business as a company, you need to have your application, consent of the directors who have accepted to become directors of the company, consent of the secretary who has accepted to become the secretary of the company. You need something called the Articles of Association as well, right? Now, Articles of Association means your company's main guiding document, right? If you go to the Companies Act, right, and if you can go to Schedule 1, to save some time, I will search for the word schedule so that we can get to it a bit more easier. Right? Let's make it first schedule, right? So if you go to first schedule, ladies and gents, you'll be able to see, give me a second. Yeah, this is the first schedule. Now, this is a model Articles of Association. Articles of Association is like the constitution of a certain country, which gives a specific idea about the relationship between company and different parties. How shares can be issued, right? How shares can be called for, when the meetings are going to be held, how votes can be done, meetings of shareholders, when the notices should be given. All these things should be included. So most people, what they do is they make small amendments to these model Articles of Association, and then they submit it as their Articles of Association. Can you have your own Articles of Association? There is no restriction, you can, but the practice mostly I have seen is companies changing this to suit their requirements and then submit it. Okay, that is what I have seen. Oh, I have few questions. Right. Yeah, Carnage. Yeah, Carnage. Yeah, right. Thank you. It's Nimitra, right? Yeah. Carnage. Yes, of course. It's a nice one as well. And then, yeah, it's out of context. It's like, let's say Chamod has a question withdrawn from the market, but without shareholders' approval, can they just send a check and remove that person's holdings? Okay, right. Yeah. Chamod, thank you very much for your question. I'll try my level best to answer it as soon as possible. Okay, there are a few other questions. May I please refer to them as well and then get back to you. Okay, right. Tanuja, thank you for your questions. Thank you very much. Right. So Tanuja has asked another question. Since it's directly related, I'll answer that first. Okay. So please don't be angry with me. Okay, Mr. Chamod, I'll answer. Don't worry. And Tanuja's, thank you for your understanding. Tanuja's question is, what are the disadvantages of companies? All right. Disadvantage number one is formalities. There are a lot of formal requirements that you need to satisfy when you are in a company. Of course, there's a big benefit. There are a number of benefits as well, because, for example, getting capital is easier. You can issue shares, limited liabilities there, separate personalities there, right? And companies can last as long as they want until their activities are brought to an end. So we call it perpetual succession. Those are some of the many advantages, right? Disadvantage, the main one is formalities. Taxation requirements are very strict, and compliance requirements are very strict. You see directors, even for example, they can even be convicted of crimes. And the other thing is, another disadvantage is transparency. Now, transparency is good. But if I ask you now, Chamod, or let's say Amra, or if I ask, let's say, uh, Nimetra, if I ask, how much money do you have in your bank account now? You don't have to answer, right? It's personal, right? But when it comes to companies, your accounting statements have to be shared with the company's registrar, right? If you are a public company, you'll have to even share those financial statements in the public media as well, like newspapers. So the confidentiality is a bit less. Do you get the idea? It's a bit less. So those are a few of the many, not many, but there are a number of disadvantages as such that you need to consider when you are engaged in the company business. Management can be a bit tricky. So many rules are there. That is the biggest, not the disadvantage, but biggest obligation you have is to act according to all these requirements. Okay, very, very formal requirements are there. It's for the betterment of the company itself, but those requirements should be complied with. And if you don't, you'll be in trouble. Okay, taxation is another thing, right? So those are some of the disadvantages that you would see in when it comes to companies. Okay, but again, if you think that company would be the best option for you to expand your business and to engage in business, please do feel free to use it, right? I'll see whether I can meet you again just to give you some more specific insights about companies itself. But I'm glad to see that you are very much interested. I have one more question to answer. That is our friend Chamod's question. Let me quickly go through it. Yeah. Expolanka PSU was withdrawn from the market, but without a shareholder's approval. Can they just send a check and remove that person from holdings? Someone who didn't sell price at buyback price. Okay. Now it's like this. Usually when it comes to decision making, you need to understand there are decisions that needs shareholders approval, and of course there are certain decisions that can be done by or taken by the directors. When you are going to see what was done by a certain set of shareholders or directors and to see whether it has been done properly, you have to actually look at the articles of association and the provisions of the act itself, because directors also have a duty not to do anything against the provisions of the Companies Act and the articles of association. So if as long as it has been done within the procedure, it's fine. Now there are different types of shares as well. I believe you are referring to shares as well. So there are different types of shares. For example, one type of share is redeemable shares, where the company offers those shares to outsiders or to shareholders, okay, existing and outsiders, with the understanding that the company would buy them back from the shareholders at a certain given time in the future or after a certain event has happened. So in such cases, as long as the whole process has been done according to the provisions of the Companies Act and also the articles of association, that would be fine. If not, you as a shareholder, as a person who has rights, has the capacity to go to courts and question those decisions. There have been multiple circumstances where in which it has happened. Okay, right? So with the information I've got, that is the answer that I can give you at the time. So if you have any specific details, please feel free to share with me. If it has to be private, I understand, then you can send it through your friend to me, then I'll go through it and even consult a friend of mine who does cases more frequently in this area and get back to you, not a problem. Okay, right. So thank you for that question. If you need further clarifications, feel free to tell me, right? So before we get to the rest of the discussion, I'm not going to make it a bit unnecessarily long. So let me give you a quick idea about this site. Okay. Now, this site is also very important. So if you are from a legal background, this is not a new website for you, right? This is the Parliament's website. Now, you might be wondering, why is this guy suddenly showing the Parliament's website to us? We are not interested, right? They are just fighting with each other. No, no. Even though you might not like the Parliament or the parliamentarians, you don't have to like them necessarily. But they are the ones who are taking and making policies for the betterment of the country. So as a responsible citizen, everyone, you need to be aware about the laws that are passed by the Parliament. because those laws governs you and me. Now, this is the 10th parliament under the new government, so there will be no laws. But if you go to the 9th parliament before the elections, you will see so many laws being passed. This is where you'll be able to find the new laws. You don't have to rely on us. You don't have to rely on lawyers. Law is there for you to go and read. It's available for everyone. So feel free to go through it. Okay, and if you need one lawyer, then of course you can talk to someone. But obviously, all these laws are public documents. Nothing is a secret. So you can easily access. Update yourself, everyone. You need to know, depending on the business activity you are engaging in, you need to know about the gazette notifications. You need to know about other governmental regulations. You need to know about these basic aspects. For example, if you are employing other people, it's compulsory for you to know about Shop and Office Employees Act. You can't say, I'm not an expert in labor law. I don't know about labor law. I paid them salaries. That's it. Then who is going to pay EPF and ETF? Right? So those are things that you should know of before you start a business. Before you start your business, especially when you engage with other people as employees, please ensure that you consult someone or make yourself aware by yourself about the relevant labor standards. Otherwise, you are waving for trouble. Okay, know how to engage in transactions. Now, I don't have a lot of time left, but let me tell you one other thing that I can give you, advice that I can give you as a person to person. If you are engaging in business activities, try your level best to engage in activities in the written form. Written form, I would say, in my experience, is the best form through which you can enter into transactions. No confusions, no. Now, you can't do that with everyone. Like, for example, if you go to the canteen and ask for a roll, you won't usually ask for a receipt. But business is business. Have a record, have emails, right? Have specifically drafted contracts if you may, right? Records are very important even for taxation. Okay, so please update yourself with these new laws. And if I may give you and expose you to a few other laws that can be very important for you, right? If you just go through this, Electronic Transactions Act. Nowadays, ladies and gents, we are in the age of electronic transactions. Now, cryptocurrency is coming into play, right? Online transactions is becoming or has become the new normal, especially after the COVID-19. E-businesses are thriving at the time. So you have to adapt. Now, for example, ChatGPT. As an academic, I don't know. I also use it, but I have a problem with how sometimes students use it. But that doesn't mean that I can prohibit students from using ChatGPT. Why is that? It's the future. We have to find an ethical way to use it. If you use it properly, it can be beneficial to everyone. But if you don't use it properly, it's harmful to you and every other person as well. So that's why now we are trying to educate students on prompting techniques, like how to ask ChatGPT what you need to ask. What we do is usually when we get a question, we copy the whole thing and then paste it on the ChatGPT platform and ask for the answer. No, that is not the way it should be done. There are ways. Okay, so I'm not going to talk about them now, but please go through the E-Transactions Act. Electronic signatures and everything regarding electronic transactions can be found here. Okay, can we use electronic evidence? Yes, of course. Right, Evidence Special Provisions Act. Right, so if you go through this, you'll be able to see electronic evidence, right? It's capable or it can be used in a court of law. WhatsApp messages, right? And then emails, all these aspects under this specific enactment can now be used. See, compute evidence. We can now use it within the course of our transactions. What if you are going to do something like hacking, right? Hacking or something as such, unlawful access, things like that. Computer Crimes Act, ladies and gentlemen, would be applicable to you. So if you are going to do either of these aspects, for example, unauthorized access, doing any act to secure unauthorized access in order to commit an offense, right? Forcing a computer to perform a function without lawful authority, all these actions like destroying records, impairing the computer, spreading viruses, all these things can come under these crimes. Okay, and now again we have a new act called Online Safety Act. Your awareness about these enactments are very important, everyone. So please find some time to go through it. And of course, the organizing committee, if you can try your level best to get some experts on these areas as well, and to help develop more knowledge about these areas of your colleagues. These are very important areas, okay? So I just wanted to give you an idea about this, but before we wind up and let you to ask some more questions, I want you to go through this as well, NIPO, right? I'll quickly give you an idea about this, okay? I'll quickly give you an idea about this. So let me tell you what this is, all right? Now, I have only 7 minutes, right? But I'll try my level best to give you a quick idea about this, okay? Intellectual property is also very important for example, for everyone. Now, I can see some colleagues from, I believe, engineering faculty and science faculty, even every faculty, arts faculty, we all create, no, right? All faculty members, all students in all faculties, we create things, okay? For example, in the arts faculty, now I'm also from the arts faculty, we create, let's say, articles, right? And then can be songs, poems, dramas, very creative aspects, right? Political theories, sociological theories, experiments, so interesting, very interesting stuff, right? And colleagues from the not environmental, sorry, engineering faculty, what you do is create, right? You produce, you invent, right? Same thing happens in dental faculty, new mechanisms, medical faculty, new mechanisms, science faculty, new mechanisms, right? Allied health sciences, whatever it is, the world is full of innovations and creations. The way that you can protect your creation is through intellectual property law, okay? Like, for example, let's say you created a song, right? Under the Sri Lankan law, that is the Intellectual Property Act, your song, the moment you put it in a certain form, the moment you express it, it will be protected by copyright, right? This one, okay? And then let's say you have invented something, a new thing, a novel invention to address a certain problem we have nowadays, right? So that can be registered as a patent, where other people will be prevented from using your creation to obtain benefits, okay? And when you are starting your business, I told you, ladies and gents, when you are using a name, right, Cafe Divide or Carnage, for example, as one of your colleagues has correctly mentioned, you can trademark it so that you can prevent others from using it in a misleading manner, right? Slogans, right, and all these aspects can come under trademarks and trade names, okay? And then, of course, industrial designs basically refers to the designs, ornamental designs, and also other aspects, okay? Like, for example, even if you are going to come up with a certain t-shirt design, that design can be registered, okay? So those are only 4 aspects. There are many other aspects to it, like trade secrets and many other areas, which I am not at a liberty to explain to you now itself due to time problems. But please feel free to go through this. There are a few amendments after this act, but they are all there for you for free. Familiarize yourself. You don't need us, okay? You are brainy people, no? You don't need us, but of course, if you need some assistance, can come and ask. But what you need to understand is that you can read these and understand. If I may give you a quick idea. Now, for example, literary, artistic, and scientific work will be protected by copyright. So these are the relevant sections. See, books, pamphlets, articles, computer programs, speeches, lectures, all of them are protected under copyright. So what rights are coming under copyright? See, economic rights. We all try our level best sometimes to, commercialize our creations, including literary work, right? So reproduction of the work, translation, everything comes under economic rights, selling and all those things. And then moral rights are the rights that are connected to the author. Like, for example, right to be acknowledged. Whenever we consider about these nice dramas, like, for example, maybe Maname and Singhabao, the moment Singhabao drama comes to your mind, a special person comes to your mind as well. So that is basically the creator, right? Professor Sarachand, they are very much connected to it. So right to be acknowledged as a creator. Those are coming under moral rights, okay? So I did not mention to you about agency law, law of contracts, and many other aspects due to time related concerns. But please feel free and make sure that you do your own research as well. You are not new to research. I just showed you the research avenues that you can utilize before you start a business. Okay, so utilize them very effectively and make sure that you know your playing field before you start playing. You have to basically go and see the pitch before you bat or ball, right? That's what usually captains and other fielders and other players do when they get into the field and during the toss. So see on the surface and try to dig in deeper and see what requirements are there, what opportunities are there. And the other request is think outside the box. There are so many opportunities to you. Many people are worried about these days that their jobs will be taken away by artificial intelligence and related technological developments. Obviously, it might happen in the future. But what you need to understand is that when one opportunity goes away, another opportunity comes in. For example, artificial intelligence. So then you can be an expert when it comes to the models, algorithms, and then of course, cyber security aspects. Okay. Now, when it comes to blockchain and other technologies like that, you can become an expert in that field. Legal experts can come from that area. Okay. Coding is becoming very, I don't know, quite competitive and different nowadays with the development of generative AI. And even when it comes to legal professionals, there are so many developments, data privacy, and then for you, biometric data is being used nowadays. What are the concerns there? How can you use it? How can you develop a system to protect that data? Did you get the idea? So likewise, there are so many other developments as well, right? One side, there's always two sides in a coin. So therefore, when one opportunity goes away, another can come. So make sure that you have a good vision regarding what you need to do. Even clothing, food items, nowadays food items are very important, right? People are worried about their health, right? Very young people are dying. We don't know sometimes what the reason is. Maybe lack of sleep and bad health habits. So people are now going for gyms, and I have talked to one of the trainers. So what he does is that as a part of his business activity, now he has started to go to people's residences. Fee is a bit high, but with some of the equipment he has in his van, he goes to these people's houses and then train them personally, right? Now that's a new idea, right? That's a new idea. So likewise, you can have different types of business ideas as well, right? But make sure that you do the relevant registration process and study the business structure to avoid future trouble. Because when trouble comes up, if you don't pay your taxes properly, if you don't register your business properly, and if you don't comply to the legal requirements, the troubles that comes your way is not going to be nice. Okay. Always be aware about the Consumer Affairs Authority Act, Food Act. There are so many acts like that, right? Last month, no, I've been learning law for like 10 years now. Last year I got to know there's a law to register dogs, right? Passed in 1901, long time ago, right? More than 1 century ago. So there are so many laws. So make sure that you are aware and literate about the applicable laws to you. Don't just give the responsibility to your legal officer, right? You should also know, right? Then you might be wondering, why should I hire one if I need to know? No, it's better to know at least the basics, know. Okay, then you can always monitor and ensure that everyone is accountable, including yourself. Okay, so I believe I have reached my allowed time now. I don't want to keep you more than it is required. So I humbly believe that you might have got some value out of the session today. And I have a habit of talking too much. So those who know me knows that. So I want to keep to the time. And I believe I have already taken few minutes extra. So I believe I have added some value to your time on a Sunday evening, that is today. And if you have any questions or concerns, just feel free to convey them to me or any person who can answer, right? And when you are doing your business, right? So always think about the basic business name, where you want the plan for the future. You can change the business structure as well, okay? You can start a business as a sole trader today, and then you can transform your business into a partnership or a company in the future as well. So don't unnecessarily hurry things up, okay? Let the business grow, and then with that, strategically decide what's going to happen and what you should do, okay? So with that, If you have a good vision and a mission, work towards it. And within that, also make sure to update yourself and be aware about the changes that happens around the business environment. Do a SWOT analysis internally and then a pestle analysis externally, just to see what's going on the outer world as well, and keep up to date and make sure that you do your business in an orderly fashion. Please don't do unethical things. Some people will give you hints to give you to evade taxation, right, and to do other hanky panky stuff which is not recommended. Those things, if they get back to you, you are going to be in huge trouble and will be faced a lot of inconvenience, and it will cause you a lot of stress to yourself and your loved ones as well. So always do things within the law, right? Then you have nothing to hide. Okay. So with that being said, I would like to thank the organizing committee for giving me this opportunity to share whatever knowledge I have with you, and I believe I might have shared some insights with you that would be beneficial for you with your future business. All right. So thank you very much again for having me today. And yeah, that's it from my end. So all the very best with your studies and also your future business activities. Do well, stay within the law, and be determined to do what is necessary within the law to get to your final destination. All right. So all the best. Thank you again.
Thank you very much, sir. It was a great session for us.
Thank you very much, sir. I
Yeah,
believe
most
we
welcome.
have gained invaluable insights into the legal aspects of starting and running a business. To formally conclude the session, I would like to invite Rotaract Yashoda Veeratunga to deliver the vote of thanks.
On behalf of all of us here today, I would like to extend my heartfelt gratitude to Mr. Shiran Harsha Widanapathirana for delivering such an insightful and enriching session on the legal framework of the financial sector. Your expertise and ability to simplify complex legal concepts have truly inspired and educated us. This session was an eye-opener not only for those pursuing careers in finance and law, but for anyone seeking to navigate today's interconnected and regulated world. The practical and thought-provoking insight you shared have given us a deeper understanding of the legal aspects that influence the financial sector, as well as tools to apply them effectively in our professional journeys. I would also like to thank our audience for your active participation and curiosity throughout the session. Your enthusiasm truly made this event a success. As we conclude, let us take this valuable lesson forward and continue exploring opportunities to grow our knowledge and skills. Once again, thank you, sir, for your time and for sharing your wisdom with us. Have a great day.